For 8 years, my parents called my coding a computer game hobby while hemorrhaging their savings into my brother's medical career. At his engagement party, I announced I'd invested $500,000 into my sister's startup, and my father's response exposed the truth they'd been hiding all along. This is where everything changed, and you won't believe how it ends. Make sure you're subscribed because this story gets wild. We always love hearing from you, so drop a comment and let us know where in the world you're watching from today. The migraine had been building for 2 days when my phone rang. I was curled up on my couch in my Seattle apartment, the rain drumming against the windows, trying to will the pain away. The screen showed Mom. I almost let it go to voicemail. "Maya, honey, how are you feeling? Dad said you mentioned a headache." My mother, Patricia, a labor and delivery nurse for 30 years, had a voice that could shift from warm honey to surgical steel in a heartbeat. Right now, it was somewhere in between. "Yeah, just a migraine. I'll be fine." "Oh, that's good. Listen, I won't keep you. I know you're busy with your little app thing." She paused. "Your father and I were going over the numbers for David's wedding, and we're just a touch short on the catering deposit. It's nothing major, just $8,000. We were hoping you could help out." I sat up too fast. The room spun. $8,000? Mom, that's not nothing. Maya, her voice cooled by several degrees. This is your brother's wedding. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event. We've already put down $40,000. We're not going to let him down over $8,000. You know how important this is to our family. And honestly, you don't have rent anymore since you work from home doing your computer stuff. Surely you can spare something. My computer stuff. The app I'd built from scratch while working night shifts at a call center. The health tracking platform that had just been acquired by a Fortune 500 company for $2.8 million. The computer stuff that my parents still thought was me playing on the internet. "Mom, I have expenses. I have a team to pay. I have." "A team?" She laughed. It wasn't a kind sound. "Maya, sweetie, I know you like to make your little side projects sound fancy, but we both know it's not a real career. Not like David. He's saving lives. He needs this wedding to go perfectly. His fiancée, Jennifer, comes from a very prominent family. This is important for his reputation." There it was. David. Always David. David the doctor. David the golden child. David who had never paid a single bill in his life that my parents hadn't covered. "I can't, Mom. I just can't right now." The silence on the other end was arctic. "I see. Well, I suppose we'll just have to tell David that his sister couldn't be bothered to help him on his special day. I'm sure he'll understand." She hung up. I sat there in the dim apartment, the Seattle rain now feeling like it was inside my skull. The familiar ache of being invisible settled over me like a wet blanket. It had been this way for 28 years. Growing up, I was the middle child in a family obsessed with medical achievement. My father, Robert, was a pharmacist. My mother was a nurse. David, 4 years older, was groomed from birth to be a doctor. And me, I was the weird one who liked computers, the one who'd rather code than study anatomy. My younger sister Lisa, 5 years younger than me, had tried to follow the medical path at first, but when she'd switched from pre-med to biotech engineering, my parents had basically written her off. She became invisible too, the two of us, the disappointing daughters, watching from the sidelines as David collected every accolade, every dollar, every ounce of our parents' pride. When David got into medical school, my parents threw a party. They invited everyone they knew. They put announcements in the church bulletin. When I got my first app published on the App Store, something that had taken me 6 months of 18-hour days, my mother said, "That's nice, dear. Did you remember to RSVP to David's white coat ceremony?" The following week, I was still recovering from the migraine when my phone buzzed with a group text. It was the family thread. The one that I was technically on, but that was really just a David Appreciation Society. "David. Jen and I finalized the seating chart. Can't wait to celebrate with everyone. Mom, it's going to be perfect. Our boy is getting married. Dad. Proud doesn't even begin to cover it." I scrolled past the heart emojis and the gushing. Then my phone buzzed again. A direct message from Lisa. "Maya, we need to talk. Can you call me?" I dialed immediately. Lisa picked up on the first ring. "Are you sitting down?" she asked. "What's wrong?" I went to Mom and Dad's house yesterday to pick up some old textbooks. They were in Dad's office, and I accidentally knocked over a stack of papers. She paused. Maya, they're in serious financial trouble. Like, really serious. I saw the bank statements. They have 3 maxed-out credit cards. They took a second mortgage on the house. And there's a bunch of statements from some investment account that's completely underwater. My blood ran cold. How much are we talking? I don't know exactly, but from what I could piece together before Dad came in and shooed me out, at least $200,000 in total debt, maybe more. Jesus. Maya, there's more. Lisa's voice dropped. I heard them talking after I left Dad's office. I was in the hallway. They were arguing about you. Me? Dad said something like, "We need to approach this carefully. Maya's always been difficult. We can't just ask her outright. We need to make her feel like it's her idea." And Mom said, "Well, she owes us. We raised her. We gave her everything. If her little hobby has made her some money, it's time for her to give back to the family that sacrificed for her." I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. My little hobby. They don't know, do they? Lisa asked quietly. They don't know about the acquisition. No. I'd never told them. Why would I? Every time I tried to talk about my work, they'd change the subject back to David. I'd stopped trying years ago. Lisa, did they say anything else? Just that they were going to talk to you at the wedding. Something about Dad wanting to advise you on managing your assets or something. Maya, I think they're planning to get you to give them access to your money. After I hung up with Lisa, I sat in the dark for a long time. Then I called my lawyer, James, a sharp corporate attorney I'd hired during the acquisition. James, I need you to do something discreet for me. I need a full financial background check on my parents, Robert and Patricia Chen. Your parents? I have reason to believe they're in financial trouble and they're planning to come after my assets. I need to know what I'm dealing with. It took James 48 hours. When he called me back, his voice was grim. Maya, your parents are in a really bad spot. They've got $220,000 in various debts. But here's the kicker. The bulk of it came from loans they took out to cover David's medical school and residency. He graduated with minimal loans because they paid most of it. How much did they pay? About $350,000 over the 8 years of his education and training. I felt sick. And me? How much did they pay for my education? According to the records I could find, you went to community college for 2 years, then transferred to a state school. You had student loans. They didn't co-sign. You paid for it yourself. I know. I'm still paying for it. Right. Well, the other thing is, your brother David, he's got some issues of his own. There's a malpractice lawsuit against him from 2 years ago. It was settled, but it tanked his malpractice insurance rates. He's making about $180,000 a year, which is good, but with his lifestyle and his insurance costs, he's apparently living paycheck to paycheck. His credit isn't great either. So, let me get this straight, I said slowly. They bankrupted themselves for David. David is barely staying afloat, and now they want to come after my money to bail everyone out. That's what it looks like. And Maya, there's one more thing. Your father has been telling people he's a financial consultant on the side. I found some complaints filed with the state pharmacy board about him giving unsolicited investment advice to customers. Nothing formal, but it's not a good look. I hung up and opened my laptop. I pulled up my accounts. The acquisition money was safely tucked away in a combination of investment accounts, real estate, and a trust I'd set up on James's advice. My parents couldn't touch it, even if they tried. But they didn't know that. They thought I was still their naive daughter with a computer hobby. The engagement party was 2 weeks before the wedding. It was being held at an expensive waterfront venue, the kind of place that cost $5,000 just to rent for an afternoon. I wore a simple black dress and arrived exactly on time. The room was full of people I half recognized, David's medical school friends, Jennifer's family, who all looked like they'd stepped out of a Ralph Lauren ad. My parents, holding court near the champagne fountain, looked proud and stressed in equal measure. Lisa found me immediately. You came. Wouldn't miss it, I said, taking a glass of sparkling water from a passing server. Where are Mom and Dad? Circulating. Dad's been talking to everyone about his investment portfolio. I think he's trying to rebuild his reputation. She lowered her voice. Maya, they're going to corner you today. I heard Mom tell Dad this was the perfect opportunity to have a chat with Maya about family finances. Let them try. An hour into the party, my father found me. Robert Chen, 62, with silver hair and the erect posture of someone who'd spent his life standing behind a pharmacy counter, giving advice. Maya, there's my girl. You look lovely. Listen, do you have a minute? I wanted to run something by you. Here we go. Sure, Dad. He guided me to a quiet corner, near the windows overlooking the water. Your mother and I have been thinking. You've done so well with your little app venture. We're very proud of you. This was new. Thank you. And we were thinking, you've made some money doing your computer work. That's great. But the thing is, honey, you don't really understand investing. You don't understand how to grow wealth. And your mother and I, well, we've been managing money for decades. We were thinking it might make sense for you to let us help you manage your assets. Make sure you're protected. Make sure you're making smart choices. I looked at him, really looked at him. This man who had never once asked me about my business, who had never congratulated me on anything I'd achieved, who was now standing here, at his golden son's engagement party, trying to manipulate me into giving him access to my money. That's interesting, Dad, I said slowly. How much money do you think I have? He shifted. Well, I don't know exactly, but those little apps can make a bit of money, right? Maybe you've saved up, 30, 40,000? I almost laughed. 40,000. He thought my 8 years of work had netted me $40,000. Something like that, I lied. But I'm pretty comfortable managing it myself. I actually have a financial advisor. His face tightened. A financial advisor? Maya, those people charge fees. They'll eat up your returns. Family doesn't charge family. We just want to help you. I appreciate that, Dad. But I'm good. Maya. His voice hardened. We're your parents. We raised you. We sacrificed for you. The least you can do is trust us with this. We know what we're doing. Like you knew what you were doing when you took a second mortgage to pay for David's residency? I asked quietly. His face went white. How did you? I know a lot of things, Dad. I know you're $220,000 in debt. I know David is barely keeping his head above water. I know you've been planning to get access to my money since you found out I was making some. And I know this whole family finances conversation is just you trying to use my assets to bail out the mess you made. You ungrateful. No. My voice was steel. I'm not ungrateful. I'm just not stupid. And I'm not your backup plan. I walked away, leaving him standing by the window. That night, I called Lisa. Are you free tomorrow? I want to talk to you about something. We met at a coffee shop near the university, where she was finishing her biotech engineering degree. She looked nervous. What's going on? She asked. I want to invest in your startup idea. The one you told me about last year. The diagnostic lab on a chip thing. Her eyes went wide. Maya, that was just a dream. I don't even have a full business plan yet. I was going to try to get into an incubator program after graduation. But how much would you need to get started? Real started. Hire a team, get a lab space, build a prototype. I mean, to do it right, probably $500,000 over 2 years. But Maya, I can't ask you for. You're not asking. I'm offering. $500,000. I want to invest in your company. 50% equity. You get to be CEO. I'll be a silent partner, but I want this to happen, Lisa. I want you to build this. She stared at me. Why? Because you're brilliant. Because your idea is good. Because someone in this family should actually support you instead of treating you like you're invisible. I paused. And because I'm going to announce it at David's wedding, and I want Mom and Dad to understand exactly what they lost when they chose to invest everything in him and nothing in us. Lisa's eyes filled with tears. You're serious. Completely serious. When? I'll have James draw up the paperwork. We'll sign it this week. And at the wedding, during the toasts, I'm going to announce it. I'm going to make sure everyone in that room knows exactly what I chose to do with my money. The wedding was everything my parents had wanted. The venue was a historic mansion in Bellevue. The flowers alone probably cost more than my first car. Jennifer looked like a princess. David looked smug. I sat at a table with Lisa and a few family friends who had known us growing up. My parents were at the head table with David and Jennifer's parents. Throughout the ceremony, my mother kept glancing at me with this weird mixture of hope and calculation. During the reception, my father cornered me near the bar. "Maya, we need to talk. This is important. Your mother and I have been discussing your situation, and we really think, not now, Dad, it's David's day. This is about David's day. This is about family. This is about you finally stepping up and helping, instead of being selfish with your little computer money." I turned to face him fully. "My little computer money? Yes. Your mother and I know you've been making some income from your hobby, and that's fine. That's great. But now it's time to think about family. David needs help. We need help. You need to stop playing games and contribute. Contribute like you contributed to my education? We raised you. We fed you. You did the bare minimum legal requirement for a child. Then you spent $350,000 on David's education and told me to take out loans. Don't talk to me about contribution." His face turned red. "How dare you? Excuse me, Dad. I have to go prepare for my toast." I walked away and found Lisa. "You ready?" She nodded, looking terrified and excited. When the best man finished his speech, I stood up. I walked to the microphone with a slim leather folder in my hand. "Hi, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Maya, David's sister." I smiled. "I wanted to take a moment to talk about family and about investing in the people you love." My mother's face lit up. She thought I was about to announce I was giving them money. For years, our family has made investments. Investments in education. Investments in careers. Investments in futures. And those investments were largely focused on one person, David. I looked at my brother, who was starting to look uncomfortable. My parents spent $350,000 making sure David became a doctor, and that's wonderful. That's their choice. My father was starting to stand up, but what I've learned is that investment isn't just about money. It's about belief. It's about seeing potential and supporting it. And there's someone in this family whose potential has been overlooked for a very long time. I turned to Lisa. My sister Lisa is graduating this spring with a biotech engineering degree. She's developed a revolutionary concept for point-of-care diagnostics. And this week, I invested $500,000 in her company. I'm funding her lab, her team, and her dream. The room went silent. Lisa is going to change the medical technology industry, and I get to be part of that. So here's to Lisa. Here's to investing in people who actually work for their success instead of having it handed to them. I raised my glass. A few people, confused, raised theirs. Lisa was crying. And my father, still standing, said in a voice loud enough for the surrounding tables to hear, "You had that kind of money, and you gave it to her. Maya, that money was supposed to help your brother. That money was for David's future." Everything stopped. Jennifer's mother, a severe-looking woman in Chanel, turned to look at my father with an expression of pure shock. I looked at him calmly. "What money, Dad?" "My little computer hobby money, the $40,000 you thought I had saved up." "Don't play games, Maya. We know you sold your app or whatever. We know you have money. And instead of helping your family, you gave it to her?" He pointed at Lisa. "I gave it to my family. I gave it to someone who earned it. Someone who wasn't handed everything on a silver platter and still managed to screw it up." "Screw it up?" David stood now, his face flushed from champagne and anger. "I'm a doctor. I save lives. You're a doctor with a malpractice suit in your history and massive insurance costs. You're a doctor who's making $180,000 a year and still had to have Mom and Dad pay for this wedding because you've never learned to manage money." I turned to the room. My parents bankrupted themselves paying for David's education. They took out loans, they mortgaged their house, and now they're here, at his wedding, trying to guilt me into bailing them all out. My mother made a small, wounded sound. "But here's the thing," I continued. "I don't owe you anything. You didn't invest in me. You didn't believe in me. You mocked my computer hobby for 8 years. So I built my business without you. I sold my app for $2.8 million without telling you. And I chose to invest in someone who actually deserved it." The room exploded into whispers. David's face was purple. $2.8 million? You've been sitting on $2.8 million while Mom and Dad are losing their house? I've been sitting on money I earned while you were having Mommy and Daddy pay your bills. Yes, Jennifer's father stood up. I think we need some air. He looked at David with barely concealed disgust. Son, we need to talk. The wedding fell apart after that. Half the guests left early. Jennifer's family sequestered themselves in a private room. My parents stood in the corner, my mother crying, my father staring at me with pure hatred. Lisa grabbed my hand. Oh my God, Maya. Come on. Let's go. We walked out together. As we left, I heard David shouting at our parents. You told me she was broke. You told me we were the successful ones. In the parking lot, Lisa hugged me. I can't believe you did that. Someone had to. And you deserve it, Lisa. You really do. The fallout was swift and brutal. Jennifer's parents pressured David into a prenup that basically protected their daughter's assets from his financial mess. The wedding, which had been this grand celebration, became the talk of their social circle for all the wrong reasons. My parents tried calling, texting, emailing. I blocked them all. David's practice continued to struggle. The malpractice insurance costs kept climbing. Without my parents' money to supplement his lifestyle, he had to downsize. He and Jennifer moved into a much smaller condo. I heard through mutual acquaintances that the marriage was already strained. My parents lost the house. They had to sell to cover the debts. They moved into a small apartment. My mother's friends at the hospital, the ones she'd bragged to for years about her doctor son, stopped calling. And Lisa? Lisa thrived. We hired 3 brilliant engineers. We got lab space. 6 months after the wedding, she filed her first patent. A year later, she had a working prototype. 2 years later, a major medical device company offered to acquire her technology for $12 million. I was in my home office when she called to tell me, Maya, we did it. They want to buy us out. $12 million. What do you want to do? I want to take it. And Maya, your $500,000 just became $6 million. Our $500,000, I corrected. You did the work. You earned this. 3 years after the wedding, I was sitting in my Seattle apartment when my phone rang from a number I didn't recognize. I answered. Maya? It's Mom. I almost hung up. Your father is sick. He had a stroke. He's in the hospital. We don't have the insurance to cover all of it. We need help. Please. You're our daughter. I looked out at the Seattle skyline. The rain had stopped. The sun was breaking through. I'm sorry to hear Dad is sick, but I'm not your backup plan. I'm not your retirement fund. I'm not your bailout. I'm just the daughter with the computer hobby you never believed in. I hung up. I blocked the number. And for the first time in my life, I felt peace. The books were balanced. The investment had paid off, just not for them.